Many of us idolize our heroes and immortalize them in our memories as we age from adolescence into adulthood. A hero's journey is made all the more important when a viewer or a reader can sympathize with the uphill struggle that our hero or group of heroes is faced with. In the case of our Tier 1 operator unit known as Delta-17, their very own war in the shadows is occurring on multiple fronts. Some are directly in open field battles that are quickly cleaned up by governmental and military authority figures. Many are clandestine operations with top-secret objectives that maintain no records of occurring nor log the history of personnel and resources lost on such missions. This is because Delta-17's entire existence is based on combating corrupt elements within otherwise legal governments that covertly fund Delta-17's enemies, namely the Dark Shadows and the mercenaries known as Retrograd. Delta-17's own support comes from a small group of patriotic generals and high-level military brass who have sanctioned the unit's actions against the dark state military elements within international governments. Such is the story of our heroes, and we'll discuss the elite members that form the initial core unit of Delta-17 right here and now. Let's begin. As many of you will already know, Delta-17 is military themed in the same vein as a certain real American hero franchise that children of the 80s and early 90s have fantastic memories of. As such, you can expect these O-ring based 3 3/4 inch scale toys to complete production before the end of 2023. Additionally, I'll leave a link in the description below for you all to check out the previous video that explained the villains, namely the Dark Shadows and Retrograd factions. But for now, let's turn our focus back to the protagonist ranks that oppose the aforementioned bad guys. Right at the forefront of the Delta-17 ranks is Shepard, or Lieutenant James Washburn from Pennsylvania. The field commander for this group, Shepard leads by example and is the epitome of a soldier who would not ask another to perform a task he himself would not do. Brave as they come, and with the ability to excel in high-pressure situations, Shepard is a hardened leader with high expectations of the troops he commands. His experience is that of both an Army Ranger as well as a member of the American Delta Force, before being selected by higher-ups as the ideal candidate to lead Delta-17. Take what you know about a top-end field commander and bolster your expectations just a little. That is who Shepard is. As a toy, his ghost mask, removable helmet with night goggles, and shotgun will give you plenty of play as well as display value. He is absolutely the foundational member of your heroic ranks. Next to Shepard in the field is Leonidas, spelled exactly, yes, as Leonidas. A former member of JTF-2, which is the Canadian Premier Level Special Forces unit, Leonidas is officially the second in command in the field, behind Shepard, and holds the rank of a warrant officer. Though he does have a laid-back attitude and sports very casual attire in the field, don't be fooled by his seemingly carefree nature. He's a seasoned veteran with experience in several war theaters worldwide. If anything, his relaxed demeanor is a result of his jaded feelings regarding the bureaucratic, overly structured atmosphere of the military. But trust us on this one, he can take care of himself and his comrades no problem. Delta-17 affords Leonidas more freedom, to the point he even brings his dog with him on missions, complete with a dog bowl that attaches to his backpack, and yes, this is a feature that translates directly into toy form. Of course, he's not above making a few wisecracks in the field, and in his own words, "When all evil is vanquished, I'll buy myself a boat, write that fiction novel, and kick back to relax for my remaining days." Despite his completely unique demeanor and appearance compared to his colleagues, he is a highly respected member and treated as a cornerstone of Delta-17. Now switching gears to someone with a more serious attitude, we have Rooster, the team's communications and reconnaissance expert. Earning his nickname due to his unique haircut, Rooster can be described in old-school terms as the strong, silent type. With a Native American ethnicity and background, the most talked about part of Rooster's past is the spirit quest he undertook as a teenager while he was transitioning from boyhood to manhood. His quest took him so far from home that he didn't go back anytime soon and ended up joining the military as an Army Ranger, eventually attaining the rank of corporal. Nevertheless, when he did eventually go back home, he was known in his area for taking long walks out into the middle of nowhere, but returning much later with enough food to feed the entire village. Yes, he's quiet, but when he speaks, your best bet is to listen, as he'll likely have something important to say. His figure loadout will reflect the gear needed for his comms and recon function within the team. Note that this figure is on a taller tooling buck, and he will stand just a shade taller than your standard 3 3/4 inch O-ring based action figures. Among the other core specialties of Delta-17 is that of an expert marksman, and that's where Preacher comes in. His backstory is that of a gentle, kind-hearted individual who found himself in the heat of battle years ago during a missionary stint he did in the Congo. While assisting in the construction of an orphanage, the site came under attack and he quickly disarmed one of his assailants, taking the attacker's AK and single-handedly fended off the entire rebel squad. His good-spirited nature carries over to this day, and he still regularly sends funds from his own paycheck to the orphanage to assist them in funding their own armed security. As implied by his name, Preacher is a man of strong faith. While not abandoning his faith, Preacher pivoted to join the Marines and in particular became a member of the Marine Forces Reconnaissance Unit, where he honed his sniper and marksman capabilities while attaining the rank of corporal. He comes armed with a sniper rifle as well as a low-tech M4, so that he can participate in both longer as well as close-ranged combat. Like Rooster, Preacher as a figure will be constructed on the larger body, so that he stands just a bit taller than your other Delta-17 and other similar O-ring or sci-fi themed figures. In other words, he and Rooster will be measured in at 4 inches rather than the standard 3 3/4 inch height. Transitioning to the youngest member of the team, we have Magdalena Laska, codename Kestrel. Her introduction to Delta-17 came when she was secretly asked to infiltrate Retrograd, but had her cover blown when she had to make an in-the-field, in-the-moment decision to save Delta-17 members from certain death rather than maintain her undercover status. Enlisting in the Polish military as soon as she was eligible, she found herself in the Polish Special Forces unit known as JW Grom, and she was inspired by her uncle, who was a former Air Force general that taught her flight skills on smaller-sized aircraft. Kestrel has familiarity and is right at home when she's outdoors, having developed survival and hunting skills as a child even before her days as a military person began. She is fluent in several languages and can be used as the team's translator when the situation calls for it. Finally, we have the army builder ranks for Delta-17, namely the Delta Squad Infantry Troopers. With their ranks consisting of both Tier 1 and Tier 2 Special Operations units, they are brought in anywhere from across the globe on a case-by-case basis and from all branches of the military. Functionally, they are considered as a standby unit, and operators reside with their regular military units in their respective countries until called upon to assist Delta-17 for specific missions. The idea here is to keep them active and able to mobilize on short notice when called upon. They are cross-trained in a ton of skills, be it advanced combat training, escape and evasion, survival skills, and anti-terrorist skills, while expected to maintain top physical conditioning. If anything, they are a perfect foil for the Thunder Battalion that is employed by Retrograd. They also have a pretty complete loadout for all purposes, including a G36C rifle, a Law rocket launcher with 3 rockets, a knife, and a backpack. What's unique about this toy is that it will be made available in multiple ethnicities to flesh out the diversity among the ranks should you choose to bolster the ranks of your collector display shelves and diorama setups. Overall, all of this represents the rundown of the 5 unique character selections and troop builders for the heroes in Wave 1. As mentioned at the start of this video, the story of our heroes is one of an uphill struggle, both involving clandestine military prowess as well as behind-the-scenes political upheaval that will impact the fate of Delta-17 as well as their respective antagonist factions. And as much as we're hoping that you as fellow collectors and potential fans of the franchise will like these characters, the fictional world built around them will be one devoid of celebration and legacy, if it's not already obvious. These are characters that you will not see awarded with medals or publicly glorified as nationwide or international heroes. The characters of Shepard, Leo, Rooster, Preacher, Kestrel, and their Delta Squad troopers do what they do simply because it's the right thing, and because they are the most morally sound of heroes, uncompromised by corruption or greed. Therein lies the beauty of Delta-17's core cast within this protagonist faction. Follow us on social media and be sure to stay plugged in to Delta17Toys.com for updates, order info, and to keep up with us in general. See you next time.